MongooseJake here with my next episode in my Blaster Throwback series, and of course the series was originally inspired by Walcom's Throwback series, and much like him, I take a look at a blaster from the past, and it doesn't necessarily have to have been a good or bad blaster per se, it just simply had to be unique or interesting to me. Because this series is definitely inspired by my own taste. While the original idea I kind of confiscated from him, I do this series with my own personal flavor added into the mix. And you're going to get a lot of Busby stuff, because I am a Busby fan. And that brings me to the blaster of this video. This is the Busby Double Shot. It's been in production since 2004, and it still continues to be made even today, which puts it as having the title of the longest continuously produced blaster in the hobby. Nothing else comes close. Everything else has either faded to the background or has been introduced far more recently. And you might think, oh, the Jolt's been around forever, right? No, that was introduced in 2011. This old boy has been around since 2004, available in both side-by-side and over and under configurations. It still lives on today. And of course, this thing fires the shells. And that's part of what makes it fun. You pop it open, you prime it down, 2 shells in, snap it up, and then break it back open. Shells come flying out one way after the darts have went out the other. And it doesn't have great performance, but if you think about what it was competing with when it was first introduced, it was competing with really basic blasters, and at the time the performance was fairly good, or at least it was reasonable, and with it performing in the high 50s, low 60s at best. Now today it's been passed up. However, it's still fun, and despite what you may see online that, oh, it's an unreliable blaster, it's going to break over time, the pull strings, they're like light duty rope. They're not the weak point of the design. The weak point of the design is the hinge, and that hinge will on a few here and there. Now I say that from experience. I actually currently own, let's see, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I currently own 9 of these things. Yes, I am looking around my shop here. I have a bin full of them, and I have a couple here behind me, and I have a brand new one, which is going to get its own video coming up soon. Because yes, it is still produced and comes with the long distance darts rather than the old Busby darts. And the biggest thing you can do to modernize one of these is to modify your shells. And that is the single greatest thing you can do. Because you don't necessarily have to take the blaster apart, you just have to modify each of your shells. And it sounds like a hassle, but if you modify 10 of the shells, you can have some fun with it. And all you have to do is either snip the little old dart posts out of there, because it has the huge ones, or you can actually go through, drill them out, and place brass in, which I will be showing a few different techniques on how to improve the performance of Busby shell using blasters here in an upcoming video once my voice comes back, because that's why you haven't seen me here in about a week and a half, is because I'm getting over something where I lost my voice mostly. But bear with me as we make it through this, because this is a video I wanted to do, because this video here showcases the blaster that got me into Busby. I know people say, oh, this blaster got me into Nerf, this blaster got me into Nerf. Yeah, I had Nerf blasters before I ever found out about Busby. This was my first Busby blaster. And it hooked me on, at the time, what was a very fun and funky company that it wasn't necessarily all about performance, it was about fun. And that's what blasters are. They're fun. Yeah, we modify them, we do full brass breeches on springers, we gut and rewire and put new motors and lipo, the flywheel blasters. And we go crazy on performance. Now we got HPA and everything else that's coming out, with the performance ceiling reaching higher and higher. Don't forget, these are all about fun. And that's something that I think that even today, the double shot can offer. With still okayish performance. I mean, you can run around in your house or in your backyard and have fun with your family and friends. And this will do just fine for that. No, you're not going to go to a NIC level war and take anybody out who's using a caliburn or an FDL. Not going to happen. Be hilarious if you did, though. Just imagine the shock on an FDL3 user, on that FDL3 user's face when he realizes, wait a minute, what just hit me? Like, a Busby shotgun just got me out? You know, and that would be funny to do. Now, all intents and purposes, they're going to see you coming, and they're going to put 5 darts into your face before you get within 100 feet of them. But, if you play somewhere that had really, really close range, you could probably still get away with this. Like, I like to watch Buff Daddy Nerf's footage from the Kane group. That's the Cincinnati area Nerf enthusiasts. I like watching his footage, and you can actually get away with this thing in their setting. But that's just an idea. If you wanted to, I bet there is a beret wearing guy who could probably show us getting a few tags with this. But for me, this embodies fun, and a lot of times that's all a blaster has to do. Is just put a smile on your face, maybe remind you of when you were a kid, which is what this does for me. And because I was a teenager when I first found this, so for me, this has good memories and fun times in the past, and the fact that they still make these things, even today, is pretty awesome. Because that is 16 years of dart flinging, shell ejecting fun that the double shot has provided from Busby. So something to keep in mind. Next time you see one, don't just pass it up. If you're in a thrift store and you see it for a couple bucks, grab it. Get a few shells, and you can get them online that are 3D printed. Or if you want to 3D print them yourself, you can find the files on Thingiverse. So don't pass it up just because it's not the most high performance thing out there. It's fun to, like I said, to load up some darts, load up the shells, and throw them in here, snap it, and then watch it go. Shells go almost as far as the darts. And then they roll around and fall down. But it's part of the fun. And blasters are meant to be fun. So, in this episode of Blaster Throwback, I hope you enjoyed me chit-chatting about the Busby double shot and kind of glowing over my fondness for the somewhat silly, somewhat practical, and overall very fun blaster. I know I've used that word a lot. Fun. This thing, for me at least, embodies that word. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching.